திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். புழியர்கோன் வெப்பொழித்த புகழியர்கோன் கடல் போற்றி. ஆழிமிசை கல் மிதப்பில் அணைந்த பிரான் அடி போற்றி. வாழி திருநாவலூர் வன்றொண்டர் பதம் போற்றி. ஊழிமலி திருவாத ஊரர் திருத்தாள் போற்றி. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். So today we are continuing on Thirunavukkarasar thevaram. Going to look at padigam 11 in Tirumurai 4, which is popularly known as namaśśivāya padigam. So as we saw in the last couple of padigams, we were looking at how Thirunavukkarasar was born in a Saiva family. He lost his parents when he was very young. He was raised by his sister. Then when he was in his teenage or youth, he got attracted to Jainism. He became a Jain. Then he became a Jain monk, and he spent 30-40 years as a Jain monk, rose up in the ranks of Jain monks. So he was called Dharmasena in Jainism. And his sister's prayer to Shiva was always to bring her brother back to Saivam. So finally one day she gets a dream. Shiva says her brother will be brought back to Saivam. And that day, Dharmasena, who is in the Jain monastery, gets stomach illness, incurable stomach pain. Then he thought he was going to die, so he comes back to see his sister. Then sister gives him holy ash to apply and then takes him to the local temple in vEdhiyan. He starts praying and his prayers come out as songs. And at the end of that padigam, he is cured of his stomach ailment. And Ashuriri tells that he will be called Thirunavukkarasar from that day onwards. And the Jain monks were worried that they will lose their power. So they go and fabricate a story, tell the Jain king, Pallava king, who was a Jain, that this guy Dharmasena has deserted us, he is talking badly about us, he is cheating us, etc., etc. So they arrest him, bring him back. We saw all that in the last one. So the Jains tell the king to punish him. They put him in the lime kiln, and with help of Shiva's grace, Thirunavukkarasar survives the punishment in lime kiln. And so that's what we have seen till the last padigam. Now the Jains tell the king that Thirunavukkarasar survived this lime kiln because of his mastery of the mantras that he had learnt as a Jain. But he had to be punished. So let us feed him poison so that he is killed. So they mix poison with food and make him eat that poison. And Thirunavukkarasar prays to Shiva and eats that poison. And due to Shiva's protection, nothing happens to Thirunavukkarasar. As if he was having a nice payasam, he was feeling fine. No bad thing happened to Thirunavukkarasar even when he consumed the poison that they fed him. Then the Jain monks again tell the king that, looks like he has mastered our mantra so much that he is not being, we are not able to kill him with all these things. So let's physically kill him. So they say that let us have him crushed by the elephant. If you know, in those olden days, there were different forms of death punishment. And one of the punishments was that they will tie somebody and keep them in the public square and have an elephant crush them. That is one form of very gruesome punishment. But there was a deterrent for other criminals, etc. So that's how they used to do in those days, one of those punishments. So they said, the Jains, because this is my theory, they were, nominally they were having this ahimsa principle, so they didn't want to see blood and all that. So that's why they were trying to get Thirunavukkarasar killed without any gruesome violence. But so what happened here was that they have that punishment given to Thirunavukkarasar. So Thirunavukkarasar is tied down, put on the street, and the mahouts bring the royal elephant to crush his head. And that time Thirunavukkarasar sings one padigam called Sunna Ven Sandana Chandam. That's the starting of the padigam. It's a very powerful padigam. And in the padigam, in every song, in the last line he says, Anjuvadu yadondrum illai, anja varuvadum illai. Meaning, I am not afraid of anything and there is nothing that is going to come to frighten me. That's how he finishes each of his song in the padigam. And at the end, when he sang that padigam, the elephant, instead of crushing him, goes around him and then starts walking away. So the mahouts and the giants who are assembled there, they are trying to goad the elephant to go crush Thirunavukkarasar. And the elephant attacks them and runs away. So the giants and the king are all worried. This is a very bad omen. That a royal elephant running away, disobeying orders, and not killing Thirunavukkarasar, they are worried that this is all very bad omen. So the giants tell the king, "O king, we have to somehow get rid of this guy. If he lives, it is bad for us. It is bad for your rule. You will not be king anymore." So then the king asks, okay, now what do we do? So they come up with a plan that, we have tried various things. We are not able to kill him. Let us do the ultimate one. Let us tie him to a big rock, take him in a boat into the middle of the sea and drop him so that he drowns to the bottom of the ocean floor and dies there. Accordingly, king says, okay, let's do it that way. And then the king's men tie Thirunavukkarasar to a big rock, carry him onto a boat, and then they go far into the sea, and then they throw him overboard. So the giants and the king's men make sure that the rock and Thirunavukkarasar have sunk into the ocean, and then they return back to the shore. And when these things were happening, Thirunavukkarasar was totally powerless, right? He is bound to the rock. He can't move his arms, he can't move his leg. He is totally tied to the big rock and he is thrown. So he is mentally worshipping Shiva. He is doing meditation on Shiva and the holy name Panchaksharam namaśśivāya. And this rock sinks to the bottom of the sea floor. And then, after some time, the rock floats back to the surface. And like a raft, it brings Thirunavukkarasar back to the shore near Tiruppathirippulliyur. Tiruppathirippulliyur is a town which is near Kadalur, which is about 200 kilometers south of Madras on the east coast. And it brings him to the shore, and he reaches, gets onto the shore safely. And then he goes to the local temple and worships Shiva. So when he was tied to the stone and thrown into the sea, that time he was worshipping, meditating on holy name Panchaksharam namaśśivāya. And then when he reached the shore, when he was riding on the rock as a boat that brought him back to the shore, and then he was singing the glory of the holy mantram namaśśivāya. And that is this padigam. So in this padigam, in every song, he will end with the holy name namaśśivāya and sings the glory of the holy name. So this is a very special padigam. And at the end of this padigam, he includes a song which describes the benefit that one gets by reciting this padigam. If you remember, when we were discussing some Sambandhar padigams, we know that every padigam of Sambandhar has a final song in which Sambandhar sings. This padigam is sung by Tirunjana Sambandhar on the lord of this particular town, and those who recite this padigam will get this benefit. So Sambandar says that in every one of his padigams. Sundarar also says that in every one of his padigam, what the benefit a devotee will get who recites that padigam. Whereas Thirunavukkarasar, in all his padigams, he does not include such a Palashruti song, the song that says what benefit a devotee will get by reciting that padigam. He doesn't say that. But in this particular padigam, the namaśśivāya padigam, for this one padigam only of all the Thirunavukkarasar padigams that we have, Thirunavukkarasar has sung the benefit a devotee gets by reciting this padigam. That shows how special this padigam is of all Thirunavukkarasar padigams. And after he goes to reach the shore, he goes to the temple in Tiruppadiripuliyur. He prays to the Swami of Tiruppadiripuliyur. And then, after a couple of days, he returns back to Tiruvadigai, the town where his sister was living, and the town where he was initially accepted as a devotee by Shiva. So he goes back to the Tiruvadigai town, and then he spends a long time, let's say many months, maybe a year, living there, worshipping Shiva there, and singing his glory and doing service in the temple and all that. After a while, the king realizes what has happened, the fact that Thirunavukkarasar survived even being thrown into the sea, and he is now living in Tiruvadigai as a devotee, worshipping Shiva there. And with Shiva's grace, the king repents for his mistake. What a mistake he had made, that he had punished Thirunavukkarasar unjustly. Without any proper justification, he has meted out punishment to Thirunavukkarasar, and he felt very bad. So he drives away the Jains, he gets out of the Jainism, he becomes a Shiva devotee, he comes to Tiruvadigai and falls at the feet of Thirunavukkarasar and asks for his forgiveness for what he has done. So that is the background of what happened in this set of padigams. So now we will go into the padigam. Before we go into the padigam, if you have any comments or questions, we can discuss. Otherwise, we will go to the padigam. Okay. So what we will do is that, Murthy, we will have you repeat initially, and then we can have Rama repeat on the end for the first song. So if you can follow with me. sotruṇai, vēdiyan, sōdi, vānavan, poṭruṇai, tirundadi, porunda, kaidoḻak, kaṭruṇai, pūṭṭi, or kaḍalil, pāyccinum, naṭruṇai āvadu, namaśśivāyavē. Good. So, in this song, Thirunavukkarasar is describing several attributes of Shiva and says that when one is fully immersed in worshipping Shiva, then even if one is tied to a stone and thrown into the sea, namaśśivāya mantram will protect him. That is the gist of the song. Now we will look at the phrases and try to understand what those things mean. So the first phrase, soṭruṇai vēdiyan, that is made up of three words, sol-tuṇai, vēdiyan. So this phrase, I found that a very complex phrase to interpret, because the word sol has several meanings. The word tuṇai has several meanings. And in these kind of verses, one has to look at various potential interpretations and which one makes the best sense, which one makes the direct sense, so on and so forth. So the word sol means word. It also means praise. It also means to speak or to praise or to say. In Tamil we often say, sol means come on, say. Sol. Or sol is a noun, it can be a verb. So it has meanings both as a noun and as a verb. So here sol can also mean sabdam in Sanskritam, right? Equivalent word in Sanskritam is sabdam. So sol is sabdam, and sabdam can stand for mantra also. So sol can stand for a word, or it can even stand for a mantra. So tuṇai means protection, something that is a companion, or it can also mean something that is similar. So looking at all these various potential meanings, to me it appears that the word sol-tuṇai can be interpreted as Shiva, who is praised as the protector. Shiva, who is praised as the savior, is the best meaning I can interpret as. They also have other complex interpretations, but this is the easiest or the best direct one I can think of. So Shiva is praised as the protection because he protects the devotees. So he is praised as the protector, he is talked about as the protector. Or you can say that the namaśśivāya is the mantra. Right? Sol, if you take the word sol as mantra, namaśśivāya is the mantra. You can say it that way too. And tuṇai is namaśśivāya. You can take it that way too. So sol-tuṇai is Shiva, who is the praised as the protector, or who is said as the protector of all devotees. Vēdiyan. Vēdiyan is a word that comes from the word Veda. Veda, the Vedas in Sanskritam. And Vēdiyan is one who is the object of the Vedas, who is praised by the Vedas, who is the meaning of the Vedas. So Vēdiyan is the phrase we can interpret as Shiva, who is the essence of the Vedas, who is praised by the Vedas. So sotruṇai vēdiyan means Shiva, who is the protector and who is the essence of the Vedas. Next phrase is sōdi. Sōdi is Tamil form, Sanskritam form is Jyoti, and Jyoti is light. So Shiva is the ultimate Jyoti, is the ultimate light, is the radiant one, is in the form of a brilliance. So that is Shiva. Vānavan. Vānam in Tamil means sky or heaven. So Vānavan is one who is in the skies, one who is in the heavens. So Vānavar in general in Tamil, Vānavar means devas because they live in the heavens. So Vānavan here means one who is in the heavens, but here it means he is in the Shivalokam, not the heaven of where the Indra and other devas live, right? That is one level, but he is in the ultimate highest level. So as we know, there are multiple worlds, right? We know that there is Bhumi is here, Earth is there, and there are levels of worlds above Earth and levels of worlds below Earth. And devas is one level, and Shivalokam is above that Devalokam, at a higher plane. So he is at the highest plane. He is at the highest level, what we call as a Shivalokam. So he is the one who is in Shivalokam, Vānavan. And then that's the first line. soṭruṇai vēdiyan sōdi vānavan. So he is saying Shiva is the praised as the protector. He is the essence of the Vedas. He is the ultimate light. He is in Shivaloka. That's the meaning of the first line. If you look at the next line, poṭruṇai tirundadi porunda kaidoḻak. So there is one phrase called poṭruṇai tirundadi. Pon-tuṇai tirundu adi. Those are the 4 words that make up the word poṭruṇai tirundadi. Because of sandhi, pon-tuṇai becomes poṭruṇai, tirundu adi becomes tirundadi. So poṭruṇai, pon is gold, tuṇai is like, similarity. It's a, and tirundu means beautiful, adi means feet. So poṭruṇai tirundadi means beautiful golden feet. That's what it means. Tirundadi means beautiful feet. poṭruṇai is like gold. So golden beautiful feet of Shiva. That's what it refers to. poṭruṇai tirundadi, the golden beautiful feet of Shiva. Porunda kaidoḻak. Porunda means to be, our mind to be absorbed in that. Mind being attached to that. Porunda means to be joined with, to be attached with. So with our mind focused on the golden lotus feet of Shiva, kaidoḻak. Kaidoḻak means with worshipping with folded hands. Kai is hand, toľak means to worship. Kaidoḻak means to worship with folded hands. So with our heart focused on the golden lotus feet of Shiva and with our hands folded in prayer, that's the meaning of the second line. poṭruṇai tirundadi porunda kaidoḻak. Then third line. kaṭruṇai pūṭṭi or kaḍalil pāyccinum. So kal-tuṇai becomes kaṭruṇai because of sandhi. Kal is a rock or a stone or a boulder. It is a general word that refers to range of rocks in size, right? It can be a big rock, it can be a big boulder, it can even stand for mountain in poetry. But you get an idea. So tuṇai means with. We saw that, right? Sol-tuṇai vēdiyan. Something that is associated with, something that is joined with. So kal-tuṇai pūṭṭi. Pūṭṭi means to tie. Pūṭṭi means to lock. In Tamil, the common word for lock is pūṭṭi. Pūṭṭi means to tie, to bind, that kind of a thing. So kal-tuṇai pūṭṭi means kaṭruṇai pūṭṭi. Kal-tuṇai pūṭṭi means if you are tied to a rock. Or kaḍalil pāyccinum. Or is a, kaḍal is sea or ocean. Pāycci means to throw, to push. So, or kaḍalil pāyccinum means even if we are pushed into the sea. kaṭruṇai pūṭṭi or kaḍalil pāyccinum. Even if one is tied to a big rock and thrown into the sea. Last line. naṭruṇai āvadu namaśśivāyavē. Nal, tuṇai, āvadu namaśśivāyavē. Nal means nalla. In Tamil, nalla is good. Tuṇai is, we saw in the first line, support or a protection. Āvadu, that which is, namaśśivāyavē, the holy mantra, namaśśivāya. naṭruṇai āvadu namaśśivāyavē means, namaśśivāya is the best protection. So, the first verse, if you look at it again, Thirunavukkarasar was tied to a big rock and thrown into the sea. And because he was immersed in worshipping Lord's holy feet, his mind was chanting namaśśivāya mantram, meditating on the namaśśivāya mantram. He was saved. The rock floated and brought him back to the shore. And that is the information, or that is the gist in this song. Shiva is praised as a protector, or namaśśivāya mantram or Shiva, both are the same. Shiva is the best protector. He is the essence of the Vedas. He is ultimate light. He is in Shivalokam. And when our minds are immersed in worshipping his beautiful golden feet with our hands folded in prayer, when we are in that level, in that state, when you are such a devotee, when even if you are tied to a big rock and thrown into the sea, that namaśśivāya mantra will save you. That is the meaning of the first song. Any comments, questions, we can discuss. Okay, if not, maybe Rama, if you are on, if you can, yeah. Good. So now there is one thing which I will mention here. In this song, Thirunavukkarasar says, even if one is tied to a stone and thrown into the sea, even though we know that happened, but the phrasing in this song says that it could be a hypothetical situation. Because even if one is tied to a stone and thrown into the sea, that is, it could be describing reality, or it could be a hypothetical statement. Much later, when Thirunavukkarasar was going around pilgrimage tours and going to different temples, at a much different period, much later time in his life, he comes to a place called Tirunelakudi in near Kumbakonam. And in a padigam he sings in that sthalam. In one song, he refers to this event of him being thrown into the sea. This is in the 5th Tirumurai, 72nd padigam, first song. It says, Kallinodu enai pūṭṭi aman kayyar ollai neerpuga nūkka en vaakkinal nellu neelvayal neelakudi haran nalla namam navitri uindhen andre. The point is that in this song, it describes the whole episode. When the evil giants tied me to a rock and threw me into the sea, I uttered the holy name of Shiva with my tongue, and I was saved. That's what he's saying in that song. So this is the corroboration, right? The event that happened. Thirunavukkarasar refers to this event in other songs, which adds to corroboration to the event that took place. So this is called internal evidence in thevaram, where you have reference to events that happen in saints' lives in their own words in different padigams. So I just mentioned it in case of for future reference. So with that, we will go to the second verse. And Ramakrishna, or if you are available, you can repeat with me. Pūvinukku aruṅgalam poṅgu tāmarai āvinukku aruṅgalam aran anju ādudal கோவினுக்கு அருங்கலம் கோட்டம் இல்லது நாவினுக்கு அருங்கலம் namaśśivāyavē. Good. Again, in this song is describing the greatness of the namaśśivāya mantra, and he is saying, describing a set of things. What adds to the beauty to the flowers? What is special about the flowers? What makes the cow great? What makes the king great? What makes the tongue great? That's how he goes in the song. So he's describing what, because lotus is among the flowers, it adds greatness to the family of flowers. Because Shiva worship uses things that are obtained from the cow, it makes cow great. If a king is impartial, that makes him great. Like that, if a tongue says namaśśivāya mantram, it makes the tongue great. That's the gist of the song. But now we will look at the words and the phrases so that we have a better understanding. The word aruṅgalam comes again and again in the song. In all the 4 lines you see the word aruṅgalam. Aruṅgalam means ornament, decoration, something that adds beauty. Equivalent word in Sanskritam is bhushanam. So, pūvinukku aruṅgalam poṅgu tāmarai. Pū is flower. Pūvinukku aruṅgalam. What makes the flowers special? What makes the flowers, what adds to the greatness of the flowers? Flowers are beautiful, we know. They are nice. There are a lot of good things about the flowers. But if you have to pick one flower among the flower, which makes the flower, family of flowers great, right? What is the most beautiful flower? And the most beautiful flower is lotus. And because lotus is a flower that adds greatness to the family of flowers. It makes all the flowers great because lotus is one of the flowers. That's the meaning of the first line. Pū is flower. Pūvinukku means 2 flowers. Aruṅgalam is ornament or bhushanam. Poṅgu tāmarai. Poṅgu means increasing or plentiful. Tāmarai is lotus flower. So lotus flower has a lot of petals. So you can say the flower with many petals is lotus. Poṅgu tāmarai. Poṅgu means many or great. And also means it can be, you can bring a word like honey or fragrance, which means the lotus flower has a lot of honey because it's a big flower. It has a lot of honey in it, and it is also highly fragrant. So, the family of flowers are made great, or lotus is the one that adds to the beauty of the family of flowers. That is the meaning of the first line. Second line, āvinukku aruṅgalam aran anju ādudal. A in Tamil means cow. If those who have been to Madras, you would have seen Avin milk. If you go to Madras, if you visit any relatives in Madras, you will know that they get delivered milk or whatever, and you will see the packet will say Avin. Avin is the name of the milk distribution company in Madras. That comes from the word A. A means cow. Āvinukku aruṅgalam. So what adds to the greatness of cows? What makes the cows special? Aran anju ādudal. Aran is the Tamil form of Hara, which means Shiva. Anju is 5. Ādudal means to bathing. Ādudal means dancing is one meaning, common meaning. But in thevaram, ādudal will also come frequently in the meaning of bathing. And here, bathing means what we call as abhishekam to the Lord. As you know, when we worship the Lord, we do abhishekam. We offer flowers and we also do abhishekam. And when you do abhishekam, there are several things that are used in abhishekam. We do abhishekam with water, we do abhishekam with milk, we do abhishekam with ghee, we do abhishekam with honey, we do abhishekam with various things, right? So, that is what this is referring to. That we use the 5 things that are gotten from the cow in abhishekam of Shiva. And the 5 things that we get from the cow are commonly referred as panchagavya, right? The milk, the yogurt, or what we call as curd in India, ghee, then the cow's urine and cow dung. These 5 things are called panchagavyam, and all these 5 are used in abhishekam of the Lord. And that is what this line is referring to. Aran anju ādudal means, the anju here means the 5 things that are gotten from the cow. The fact that Shiva is receiving abhishekam with 5 things that are gotten from the cow, that makes the cow special. The 5 things, these are the 5 things that make the cow great. That's the meaning of the second line. Āvinukku aruṅgalam aran anju ādudal. The fact that Shiva gets abhishekam with these 5 things from the cow makes the cow special or adds beauty to the cow. The third line, Kovinukku aruṅgalam kottam illadu. Ko means king. Kovinukku means to the king. So Kovinukku means to the king. Aruṅgalam kottam illadu. Kottam means partiality. Illadu means not having. Kottam illadu means not having partiality. So Kovinukku aruṅgalam kottam illadu means being impartial is the best ornament a king can have. King is decorated with a lot of things, right? He wears a crown with a lot of gems embedded in them. He wears chains, necklaces, all kinds of things on his arms, neck, waist, whatever, right? He has got a lot of ornaments on his body. But the true ornament, the one thing that makes the king beautiful is his impartiality. As you know, those in power, those who are ruling the land, they should be just. They should not show any partiality in their actions. So justness is a very important attribute of a king. In fact, that is the most important attribute of a king. That's what this line is saying. Kovinukku aruṅgalam kottam illadu. And then he finishes the line. So now he has described what adds beauty to the flowers, what adds beauty to the cow, what adds beauty to the king. Now he comes to the final line, says what adds beauty to the tongue. And that he says is namaśśivāya. Nāvinukku aruṅgalam, namaśśivāyavē. Namaśśivāya mantram is the one that adds beauty to the tongue. So what does that mean? So we should utter the namaśśivāya mantram, we should chant the namaśśivāya mantram with our tongues, and that only adds greatness to the tongue. That means it's something that all of us should do. That's how he finishes the song. Nāvinukku aruṅgalam namaśśivāyavē. Namaśśivāya is the best ornament that the tongue can have. So that is the gist. So what he is saying is a very poetic way of saying what adds beauty to the flower, what adds beauty to the cow, what adds beauty to the king, and what adds beauty to the tongue. And that's how he finishes. So if any of you are on mute, if you have any questions or comments, you can unmute and ask. Okay, if not, go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Yeah, very good point. I should have mentioned it, but I'm glad that you asked about the thing, right? The poo. See, these are all used in the worship, right? We use all flowers in the worship of Shiva. But of course, the best flower is lotus, because Lakshmi is there, Saraswati is there, everybody is sitting on lotus. So lotus is a very special flower. And like that, we use things in Shiva worship with cow's milk and yogurt and all that. And the third line, he brings the fact that the king should be just. He should be impartial, and that's what adds beauty to the king. If you recall the situation, what has happened to him, right? Thirunavukkarasar. He is being punished by a king. Is he impartial? Is he just? No. He is being punished by a king who is not impartial. He listens to the giants. He doesn't see both sides of the situation. He listens to only one side. And he was taking action without proper justification. He was taking unjust actions. So, maybe that's why he referred that the fact that what adds beauty to the king is to be impartial. This is what I think based on your question and in this context of the song. Yeah. So, was that your question, or was there something else in your question? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah, but again, you can also see it as a poetic way of saying, right? When you are doing in poetry, you give some kind of analogies. So, what adds beauty to them? What adds beauty to this? What adds beauty to this? What adds beauty to the tongue? It's a poetic way of saying too. Yeah, good. So, Rama, if you can repeat whole verse. Good. Now we move on to the third song of this padigam. And Murthy, you can repeat with me. viṇ-uṟa அடுக்கிய விறகின் வெவ்வழல் உண்ணிய புகில் அவை ஒன்றும் இல்லையாம். பண்ணிய உலகினில் பயின்ற பாவத்தை நண்ணி நின்று அறுப்பது namaśśivāyavē. Good. So in this song, what Thirunavukkarasar is saying is giving an analogy. He is saying, we all have a lot of karma, and how do we get rid of this karma? And he says, us reciting the namaśśivāya mantram will get rid of our karma. And how does this do it? He gives an analogy. Like, even if you have a lot of wood, a small fire will destroy all of it. Like that, the namaśśivāya mantram, even though it is a very small mantram and our karma is very huge, this namaśśivāya mantram will destroy our karma. That's the gist of this song. Now we will look at the words and phrases and understand it better. The first two lines talks about the fact that we have got a lot of wood and how fire destroys that. And the next two lines says, like that, all the lot of sins that we have, lot of karma we have, namaśśivāya mantram will destroy. The viṇ-uṟa அடுக்கிய விறகின், viṇ is sky. Uṛa means reaching up to, touching. அடுக்கிய means stacked. விறகு, firewood. In the previous padigam that we saw, Māsil Vinayam padigam, in the last verse, we saw this word viragu. Remember? Viragil தீயினன் பாலிற் படுநை போல் மறைய நின்றுளன் மாமணிச் சோதியான் உறவு கோல் நட்டு உணர்வு கயிற்றினால் முருக வாங்கி கடைய முன் நிற்குமே. That is the final song of the மாசில் வினையும் padigam that we saw last time. Viragu means firewood. So, is describing a scene. viṇ-uṟa அடிக்கிய விறகு means the firewood which is stacked all the way up, reaching up to the sky. Then you can imagine how big a pile of firewood we have, right? You know, in firewood, at home, we'll have firewood which are like, maybe, 4 feet long and 3 inches wide or something, and then we stack them. We put one set on the floor, and then we put another one cross and another one this way, we stack them. You have seen them where you have seen firewood stacks. So if we stack firewood like this, and this stack is so high that it reaches to the sky, such a tall stack of firewood, that is with the phrase viṇ-uṟa அடிக்கிய விறகு. vEdhiyan. Adal means fire. vEdhiyan means hot fire. vEdhiyan, hot fire. உண்ணிய புகில். Unnu means to eat. Pugu means to enter. Unniya pugil means if it enters to eat. Right? If hot fire enters to eat. Avai ondrum illayam. Avai is those, that stack of firewood. Ondrum illayam means it will be reduced to nothing. Illai means nothing, not there. Ondrum illai means not even a little bit. Right? Absolutely destroyed. So what the first two lines means is, even if there is a stack of firewood stacked very high, reaching up to the sky, if the hot fire enters to eat that pile of firewood will be reduced to nothing. We very easily understand this situation because we can see it. We have seen how forest fires destroy everything. So, a small spark that starts a fire, a small spark is enough to destroy this huge pile of firewood. Like that, பண்ணிய உலகினில் பயின்ற பாவத்தை நனி நின்று அறுப்பது namaśśivāyavē. So, உலகு means world. Lokam is உலகு. பண்ணிய உலகினில் பயின்ற பாவத்தை. So here there are a couple of ways of interpreting this third line. So பண்ணிய உலகு means this world that has been created, the world that has been created by God. In this created world, பயின்ற பாவத்தை. பயின்ற means whatever we have been doing. பாவத்தை means, பாவம் is papam in Tamil form of Sanskrit word papam. The sins. பயின்ற பாவத்தை நன்னி நின்று. நன்னுதல் means to get close, to reach up to reach to. நன்னி நின்று. Reaching up to them, reaching them. அறுப்பது. அறுப்பது means to destroy. namaśśivāyavē, the mantra, namaśśivāya mantra. So, the third line, பண்ணிய உலகினில் பயின்ற பாவத்தை, means in this world, whatever sins we have committed and whatever sins we have been committing. Payindra means that something that we have been doing for a long time. Right? This is not the first time, we commit a sin, but that's not the first time we are committing a sin. We have been committing sins for many, many births. That's why the accumulated karma is there. So we are used to committing sins. So we are always committing sins. So all these sins that we have committed, this accumulation of all this karma, the namaśśivāya mantra will reach up to that huge pile of karma and reduce it to ashes. Just like fire reduces firewood to ashes. That's the gist of this song. So, regardless of however great a sinner can be, however much sins one has, if one chants the namaśśivāya mantra regularly, that will destroy all that sin. That's the message that Thirunavukkarasar is communicating in this song. So if you have any questions or comments, we can talk. If you are on mute, unmute and ask. If not, Ramakrishna, can you repeat the whole verse? Yeah. Very good. So as I mentioned in the previous times, the namaśśivāya mantra, namaśśivāya is the Sanskrit word, namaha shiva becomes namaśśivāya in Sanskritam, and when it comes in Tamil, it is pronounced namaccivāya for Tamil pronunciation. So that's why you will hear the Oduvar singing, or even I telling you, I'll say it as namaccivāya. And that is that kind of Shiva becoming Cha, it's there even in Sanskritam in some context. If you see some of the Palasrutis, I think Lingashtakam, at the end of the Lingashtakam they say, Yaf patet Shiva sannidau. Yaf patet Shiva sannidau. That patet and Shiva becomes patet Shiva, if you remember that. So the words undergoing pronunciation differences because of Sandhi is there in Sanskritam too, but it's there in Tamil too. That's what I wanted to briefly mention. Okay, now we have another 5 minutes. What I can do is that we can listen to the whole padigam. It will take about 8 minutes or so. We will listen to the Oduvar sing the whole padigam, and we can conclude the class, today's session with that. Are you okay with that? Okay. So with that we will conclude today's session, and we will meet next week to continue the discussion further. Tiruchitrambalam.